Thanks everyone for helping me reach 1,000 subscribers. This has been a journey and a half, and every now and then you get a comment that makes it all worthwhile. This has been one of the most challenging things I've ever done, and I'm now setting myself the goal of 10,000 subscribers, so lots of RPG content still to come. The Final Fantasy series consistently has some of the greatest gaming music. Whatever is happening on screen, there's an emotional resonance with what you're hearing, and it helps immerse you deeper into the game. From intense battles to tragic moments, there's a huge variety and new innovations with every Final Fantasy. While a lot of other games have good music that serves as great ambience, Final Fantasy manages to take it to the next level and create fantastic, memorable melodies that you can't get out of your head. I want to hear from you guys. What's your favourite Final Fantasy music? Let me know in the comments and I'll try to read and reply to every single comment. I'm going to run through every mainline Final Fantasy and debate my favourite music piece for each one. Not going to take it too seriously, so have fun.
Have fun.
Final Fantasy VII, man, just the entire soundtrack. I love it. I want to mention the general battle theme, Those Who Fight. This might be my favourite general battle theme of all of Final Fantasy. The clashing of steel, and the build-up with more and more instruments kicking in. But you only get to hear some of the more epic parts in the longer and more intense battles. Jenova's theme is awesome. It's got an almost alien vibe to it, and it makes sense. Jenova is technically an alien. Everybody loves a one-winged angel, but I think the build-up to that with Birth of a God is one of the most underrated tracks in the game, or at least it's very overshadowed by One-Winged Angel. Maybe I'm crazy, but the tempo of the beats make me think of a train speeding up. And that's just how Final Fantasy VII starts, on a train. And as Barrett likes to put it, the whole journey of Final Fantasy VII is one big train ride, and there ain't no getting off this train. Yeah! The main theme of Final Fantasy VII is a very slow progressive build-up to this incredible piece. When Cloud uncovers the big twist of Final Fantasy VII and takes off his helmet, this main theme plays, and it's one of the greatest or most emotional moments of the game as he battles Sephiroth as the music peaks. I really like how Aerith's theme is used. When you first hear Aerith's theme, it's quite hopeful with undertones of sadness, and then it plays as she dies. Jenova attacks the party while her theme is still playing. It's hard to take Jenova seriously because you're still processing what's happened. At this rate, I might as well go through VII's entire soundtrack. My favourite piece is Interrupted by Fireworks, which is just this beautiful and almost haunting mix of sadness and happiness. The main use of this piece is when you're on the date with Aerith at the Gold Saucer, and she reveals that she has the big twist of Cloud's identity worked out. And this is all just before she dies. Final Fantasy XI. Man, I have tons of nostalgia for this game, and everywhere I go in the world, I can listen to the music and just have these memories with other players for those locations. And these memories go all the way to running Dynamis with a huge guild of players at 3 AM, because there were no European servers on Final Fantasy XI. Dynamis was hardcore, and you'd have to retake the captured cities from the Shadow Lord, and eventually take the battle to him, and just hearing Awakening takes me right back to 3 AM. Chains of Promethea had some awesome music. I love the battle theme Onslaught, and that even got reused in Final Fantasy XIV with Absolute Virtue returning as a boss fight again. The ambience of Ruon Gardens takes me back to playing Summoner and trying to fight the monsters around there for experience points. That whole place was called Sky, and it just had this incredible ambience and atmosphere to it. Out of everything, I think the Republic of Bastok is my favourite. Bastok was the country I went with, and this takes me right back to starting out as a noob in the streets of Bastok markets with no idea what I was doing. Man, I wish I could go back and do it all again. Final Fantasy VI shows just how incredible Final Fantasy music can be, even on these older 2D systems. There's Fierce Battle, which is the battle music for huge bosses like the Warring Triad or Ultima Weapon. And that's up there with some of my favourite Final Fantasy battle themes. It really makes these big bosses feel overwhelming. I think if you ask a lot of people what their favourite FF6 music is, they usually say Terra's theme. Terra's theme is so good it still gives me chills. It is so hope-inspiring, and it's one of the greatest overworld themes ever. But there's one music piece I personally like even more. Celice's theme. Celice is a complicated character, a general of the evil empire gone rogue, a survivor of the destruction of the entire world, and she attempts to end her game early after she loses everyone and everything. And her theme tragically captures this moment. Final Fantasy XIII. Okay, the general battle theme is strong here. It builds up and climaxes with a violin, which is a bit different and I love it. I used to hear the battle theme over and over when I rewatched the trailer for 13 in anticipation for this game. My favourite piece in 13 is probably Snow's theme. It matches Snow's personality where he fancies himself a hero, but he's still got a long way to go. I think the best thing about 13 is the soundtrack. You've got all the lighter orchestral pieces, that includes the violin, but there's also this mix of harder hitting intense stuff too. Final Fantasy VIII. For being so focused around war and military like schools, this one has some surprisingly out there music. Love the ambience of places like Balam Garden and Fisherman's Horizon, where I'll hear the music in my head just seeing the locations. I really like the Chocobo theme in 8 and it's criminally underused, with Chocobos being nearly useless in 8. Love the general boss theme, Force Your Way. But even better, my number one favourite piece from 8 is easily Laguna's theme, Man with a Machine Gun. This is so out there, it really captures the energy and goofiness of Laguna. It's a complete contrast of our main character, Squall. Final Fantasy I. I really like the Final Fantasy prelude with 1 because this is where it all started, and it has almost magical qualities to it. The Chaos Shrine or Chaos Temple is my favourite piece in 1. It just really feels like the beginning of an epic adventure. And not even the developers realised how big of an adventure it would be with Final Fantasy exploding and number 16 just released. Final Fantasy IX is a big fan favourite, it's a big return to fantasy and it's the same with the soundtrack. I really like the Sword of Fury or Feel My Blade which accompanies the theatre play at the very start of the game, and it really helps mark that return to fantasy settings with number 9. The Black Mage Village has this goofy techno ambience that captures the true innocent nature of the Black Mages in number 9. Pity there's a horrifically depressing fate for the village. My favourite piece with 9 has definitely got to be You're Not Alone. So the main character Zidane is all about helping everyone, but his own reality is shattered and he has a breakdown. You're Not Alone plays as everyone comes to save him. Final Fantasy III. Easy. My favourite piece is the Crystal Tower's theme. The Crystal Tower is one of my favourite parts of 3, and the music almost describes it. This jaw-dropping, monumental, ancient Crystal Tower with almost a haunting side to it. And that Crystal Tower did return in Final Fantasy XIV. Where to even start with number 14? This game is so huge, it may have one of the greatest game soundtracks of all time. I love how big summons and big boss trials have their own music. Ultima Weapon, a pretty epic climax to the Realm Reborn story. And I'm a big fan of Phase 2 of Sephiroth in Heaven's Ward. I loved how the Titan fight worked. You're in a tiny arena against the Goliath Titan, and as the fight goes on, the arena becomes smaller and smaller and more chaotic, but so does the music. It becomes more and more intense, till it's literally screaming at you in the chaos. Man, picking a favourite piece of 14 is really hard. Even just some of your regular dungeons have some real bangers, like the twinning. And and I love the ambience and atmosphere of Shadowbringers in general. But I think my favourite piece is probably the Praetorium music, Penitus. If you've played, you're probably tired of hearing this after running main scenario roulette. It's just the ultimate climax of A Realm Reborn, and it's a really long epic piece as you battle the Empire's base with their own Magitech armor, just like in Final Fantasy VI, and it's got some really nice calmer ambient moments. Final Fantasy IV. Some good ones here. This is the first airship theme I've come to love, and I think the Pixel Remaster version is even better. We're gonna go with the Battle with the Four Fiends theme. This is an iconic boss theme which adds a sense of urgency and determination to these fights, and the Four Fiends themselves are pretty epic. Final Fantasy X. 10 marks the point of Final Fantasy upgraded to DVD discs, and we got to see some higher quality audio and the addition of voice acting. I really like 10's prelude, but it's only heard once very early in the game, and most people forget about it or don't even notice it. Besaid Island has a really nostalgic vibe for me, as well as that intro to Zanarkand, which really sets the tone of the journey through 10. It's hauntingly beautiful and it's so nostalgic. That reminds me, I really need to replay 10 soon. My favourite is the heavy metal piece Otherworld. It is very unique to the Final Fantasy series, and it only plays at the very beginning and the very end of the game with the fight with Jet, but it is epic. Final Fantasy V, Leonard's theme is a strong one, another one that really brings back the nostalgia. But you know, gotta go with the iconic Battle on the Big Bridge with Gilgamesh. This track always ends up getting remixed and reused in other games, it is so good. Final Fantasy XV, when I think of 15, it's usually Stand Your Ground that's playing in my head, another one of those strong mixes of orchestral and rock elements. It's the general battle theme and it fills you with determination. That's my favourite, but I quite like the Trial of Leviathan as well. It plays in one of the most pivotal and epic moments in the game. I only played through 15 at launch, so I really need to go back and play the complete version of the game and see if there's any new good music. With Final Fantasy XII, the soundtrack focused more on the atmosphere. Found the early game quite nostalgic, and listening to the Dalmasca Esther sound takes me right back to leaving Rabanastre, after picking up a few bounties and running hunts with the adventure just beginning in 12. Final Fantasy II's Castle Pandemonia is probably my favourite piece. Exploring and working your way through the castle is pretty epic, and the music really enhances the experience. It's dramatic, adds a sense of tension and mystery, and I love the Pixel Remaster's version of this. I want to know, what are your favourite Final Fantasy music pieces? Let me know in the comments, and I will try and read and reply to every single comment. But peace for now.